Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to be talking about how semen retention is so low. Leveling. Let's get right into it. Nah, I'm just kidding. But if you've ever seen solo leveling, um, the story goes there is 6 classes of warriors, and the reason for these warriors are because there was an imminent danger that threatened the safety of society. And so, because of this imminent danger, something deep within a select few of the people in the world had awakened, and it had created this class of hunters. Now, there's 6 different kinds of hunters. There's an A class hunter, B class hunter, C class hunter, D class hunter, E class hunter, and that's the weakest class. And there's a S rank hunter. They're more ranks than they are classes. They're ranks, right? S rank, that's the best. And then A rank is the second best. B rank is the third. C is the fourth. D is the fifth. E is the sixth, the last. So you can't get any lower than the E rank. And S rank, it is regarded as the best rank. So when you first start out on semen retention, you are just like Jinu-san. Like, you're weak. You're E class. When you speak, it's like a whisper travels in the wind, and people barely bat an eye, if they bat an eye at all, and you're essentially invisible. You're essentially invisible. Like, your presence commands no respect whatsoever. When you walk in rooms, people look away, not toward you. You know what I'm saying? So if you're starting this journey, let that be motivation as to get onto this practice, right? But Jinu-sung goes into what's called a dungeon. And a dungeon are these portals that open up in space-time, and there's a certain amount of time, there's a time window frame that the hunters must defeat the monsters inside of this dungeon before this dungeon breaks loose completely. And so Jinu-sung went into a dungeon, but this dungeon ended up being a surprise double dungeon. And so there's probably about 8 to 10 hunters that need to be in every dungeon in order to defeat the dungeon. And the dungeons have ranks too, like a rank A dungeon, rank S dungeon, rank B dungeon, rank C, rank D, rank E. You get the point. So this was a rank E dungeon. This is a rank E dungeon, I believe, or a D dungeon, something like that. One of the lower tier dungeons. And it ended up becoming a double dungeon. And what a double dungeon is it's a dungeon that is, instead of one dungeon, it's two dungeons. Who would have guessed, right? And so the double dungeon ended up being like S rank monsters. Like, I don't know if they're called monsters. S rank demons, something, I forgot what they're called. But Jinu-sung ends up dying. He ends up having to sacrifice himself in that double dungeon, and it wasn't by choice. He sacrificed himself somewhat by choice, because what happened was they cleared the regular dungeon. The dungeon turned into a double dungeon, and they were all in danger. A lot of the hunters died because they didn't understand what was going on in the dungeon, but Jinu-sung was somehow able to figure it out. And long story short, Jinu-sung ended up being abandoned. He got abandoned. And he died. He died. He got abandoned by everyone in there when he showed them the way out, and he ended up being the one that was sacrificed onto the altar. Now, just before he died, there was a moment in time where it was like the blade was that close to him, and he had an option. It was like a pop-up screen on a video game, and he had the option to become a player. So he was a player. So he chose. You could either choose to become a player, or he could decline to become a player, and his heart would have stopped. He would have died. So he chose to become a player. Now, within this universe, there's something called a reawakening. So you have your rank, you get your rank, you take your assessment once you realize that you're awakened, and then you take your assessment, and then they will determine if you're S rank, A rank, B rank, C rank, D rank, and E rank. They'll determine that, and it never changes. It never changes, except in very acute, minute, strange situations. And those situations are what's called a reawakening. And that the reawakening happens usually when a hunter goes through some form of adversity and they're able to triumph incredibly. And Jinu-sung, considering that he sacrificed himself in this double dungeon, actually was given a second chance, and so he had what was called a reawakening. And that's what semen retention is. Semen retention is reawakening your potential, reawakening the very vision of the man that you had in your mind, in your heart, at the very beginning. You used to have this idea of this man that you could be, and we all know that it's incredible. We could all be incredible people. And that's what the solo leveling is. It's and that's what semen retention is you go from this E rank, barely anyone really cares about you, like, because you're not really taking care of yourself. If you don't care about you, why should anyone else? And that's the main gist of the thing. And you have this reawakening, and Jinu-sung has this reawakening, and he ends up in the hospital with these new powers. And you know, if you want to watch, if you want to watch Solo Leveling, just from that description, you should watch Solo Leveling. It's a great anime. It's an anime. But the gist of what I'm saying is, you go through this spiritual death, you go through this rock bottom, you just relapse and you had enough. You're sitting there, all this goo all over you. You know what I mean? You're sitting there shameful. Absolutely just... You just want nothing to do with yourself, okay? And then you realize that I want better for myself. And that's the reawakening. The reawakening is understanding that I want to get onto some sort of practice that will help me actually love myself. And semen retention is a form of self-love. It's a form of self-love. In fact, I will say it's one of the highest forms of self-love. And so you just, like the storyline goes, you just get better day by day, and you're gaining these new abilities, these abilities to focus, these abilities to pay attention, these abilities to notice things, these abilities to actually set out a goal and achieve it and take action, these abilities to have confidence in yourself. You develop ability to speak confidently. You develop ability to have a confident posture about you, even when you walk. You develop an inner confidence that cannot be shaken. And much like the storyline goes, you become the best version of yourself. And that's without a doubt. So, that is why semen retention is so low leveling. All right, guys. Appreciate it. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Do your thing. And see you in the next one. Peace.